Cheese, no design on my jacket. Work hard, now I'm changing my bracket. Talk tough, we ain't hearing that racket. Dots came in, you know how to stack it. Don't take it wrong, but I'ma need my ends though. I got tigers on my chest like Kenzo. Rail came, yeah, he putting that Benz though. Carol's here, man, you know he stay 10 toes. Big dog, man, you know I ain't worried. Bent up, so I'm talking real slurry. Got a blast, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is Adam Caplan, the voice in your ears with AC Radio. Coming at you on that Tuesday, we got Merab Dvalishvili versus Petr Yan. And let's just say there's a reason why I'm rocking red today on this Tuesday, because the Georgian machine, Merab Dvalishvili, proved why he is absolutely one of the best in the bantamweights division right now. And it was kind of crazy to see a humanized Petr Yan, an even more humanized Petr Yan than we even saw in the Aljamain Sterling fights and even the Sugar fight. Because, of course, the Sugar fight was a war. It was a close fight, neck-and-neck battle. Obviously, the Aljo fight, was controversial because of the knee. And then after that was basically Backpack City from Sterling. But, man, this Merab Dvalishvili performance really put a different blemish on Petr Yan in his career, because it really didn't look like he wanted to be there. The footwork wasn't there. Petr couldn't get anything going on from the southpaw stance, and then only in the later rounds was he finally switching to orthodox, and you could see that Petr was just not able to get those shots off and utilize his boxing and those leg kicks like he usually does. Merab Dvalishvili breaks a record 49 takedown attempts in the octagon against Petr Yan. Could you believe that? And you could just see how much this fight and how much this moment meant to Dvalishvili. He was even attempting takedowns from a range that wasn't necessarily the correct range. He was going for takedowns without setting up his boxing sometimes. He just had the heart and the desire and did not give a shit about what Petr Yan had for him. And it showed on Saturday night. We'll get to the venue after, because it was a disaster. The UFC Apex was booked, I believe, because of Power Slap. And let's just say these guys did not get the royal treatment. I think that they would have been better off fighting in the parking garage than this venue. But that's another story. I mean, look, Merab, what he did so well was that constant pressure and desire, and that willingness to even stay on the feet with Petr Yan, utilize his boxing, utilize his leg kicks, make the fight dirty. That's what Merab does the best. When Merab makes a fight dirty and he is leading with the pressure and he is leading with those takedown attempts, that's when you know that this fight is going to go Merab's way. And that's exactly what he did. I love the fact that he wasn't afraid to strike with Petr. Petr is a fucking killer on the feet. Great boxing, great Muay Thai, great kickboxing. One of the great Russian assassins in the UFC, and Merab put an end to that, man. And it's going to be tough to see where Petr does go from here, because these last few performances have been absolutely demoralizing. He feels that he got robbed in the Sugar fight. He didn't even get to utilize his game plan against Aljo, and he certainly didn't get to utilize it against Merab. So it's going to be a tough quest for Petr Yan from here, because the bantamweight division is stacked. I saw on Twitter that some folks were saying that he should fight the winner of Song Yadong versus Ricky Simon. It's like, we're talking about Petr Yan here, guys. You want Petr Yan to fight that? It's like, no offense, these guys are killers in the division, but this is Petr Yan here. So to see kind of the descent of Yan is really an unfortunate thing to see, and it's kind of crazy how we go in trends and eras and sagas and seasons with different fighters and kind of where they're at in their prime. And it just goes to show you how a couple of losses could absolutely derail everything. It is so different than the NFL. It's so different from the NHL. These guys get to turn things around 1 or 2 nights later. Petr Yan has to wait months and months, sometimes years, and you could see that he hasn't quite yet caught that momentum to pick things back up. Do I think moving up to 45 is the answer? No, I don't. I think that it is probably best that Yan does move down in terms of the rankings and fight some guys on the bottom 5 to 10 mark. I think that would be advantageous to Yan as well. Get the confidence back, get the momentum. But another thing too is like, Yan's probably not feeling the love right now. You know what I'm saying? He feels like Sugar got the push. Sugar maybe got the gift. I don't believe so. I believe Sugar won that 3-2, a close first round. But Yan's not feeling the love. I mean, that venue, awful. The decision against Sugar Sean, awful. The outcome with Aljo with the knee and then the backpack, awful. Most of these things are Yan's fault. He left the fight up to chance by the judges against Sugar. He threw an illegal knee against Aljo, and he lost to Aljo and Merab in those two fights, plain and simple. I don't know what to tell you. So right now, Yan is at a crossroads in his career, I believe, where he's going to have to figure things out because something is not working. And I know it doesn't have to do with him not being good enough, because he absolutely is. So perhaps maybe the prime is descending, or perhaps he has some big changes to make. Maybe fight a little bit lower in the division for now, not too low because it's a stacked one, and then move on. But Merab Dvalishvili, let's talk about him. Coming off of looking for a fight with Dana White, they found him, I believe, in New Jersey. You know, everyone laughs at some of these shows that Dana does. But then you get a guy like Merab Dvalishvili, the Georgian machine that I like to call him. What a fucking diamond in the rough. Constant pressure, great wrestling, so much energy. Reminds me of Clay Guida. Merab Dvalishvili is a new age Clay Guida, you know? Except Merab is going to fight for the title. Hopefully, we'll see, because we got a big story here. Aljamain Sterling and Merab Dvalishvili are best friends and main training partners, you know? So that causes some controversy there. Why? Because Aljamain Sterling is the champion. Merab is one of the next up. Aljamain Sterling is finally going to be fighting Henry Cejudo in New Jersey's Prudential Center. I had the pleasure of going there at UFC 159, John Jones versus Chael Sonnen, which I've talked about on the show. It's nice to see that the UFC is going back to New Jersey. I know, you know, they go crazy on the New York thing, but, you know, New Jersey needs some love too, because New Jersey was there before New York City. And you don't forget about those things. Took a long time for New York to get sanctioned. So, you know, we're finally going to get this matchup in Sterling versus Cejudo, hopefully. And who's next up after that is Sugar Sean. And then it's confusing because Cejudo said, I want Merab to be the alternate. Well, what happens if Cejudo doesn't show up? They're going to put Merab in as an alternate to fight Aljamain Sterling? That's not going to happen. So that's a little bit of a weird thing right there. That fight is supposed to happen in May. But then usually International Fight Week, we thought that maybe we were going to get Sugar in a title fight. I don't know, man. Cejudo being on the shelf for a very long time and Aljo being a big bantamweight, are these guys going to want to go from May and then right away to July? I mean, shit, that's a tough weight cut. But if there's anybody to do it against, it's the cash cow right now in Sugar Sean. So that makes sense to me. But at the same time, can't you see it being a little bit of a veteran strategy for Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling to say, yeah, we're going to fight in July to Sugar, whoever wins that fight. And then they say, you know what? I'm not fighting in July. I'm not ready. We'll do it at the end of the year, early next year. And they fucking shelf Sugar even more. And then they either force Sugar's hand to maybe have to fight Merab, or the winner of Cheeto versus Corey, or the loser. So that could be a little crazy there. But, you know, I'm giving maybe Aljo and Cejudo a little bit too much credit. I don't think they have that much pull to be able to deny Sugar Sean of a title opportunity in July. So there's an interesting storyline there, a little bit of a dynamic, which is interesting to see too. Right now, if in a perfect world, Aljo does fight Cejudo in May, and then the winner does fight Sugar in July, if I'm Merab Dvalishvili, I want to stay active. I know that you want to wait it out and see what's going to happen, but too much waiting is not good. And the gift that Dvalishvili has with that energy and that tenacity and that go forward, you can't ever lose that. You cannot waste that opportunity and that momentum and that courage and that mindset by shelving yourself. You got to continuously go out there and put your balls on the line and your name on the line and your skill set on the line. Merab Dvalishvili versus the winner of Marlon Vera or Corey Sandhagen is the next fight to make. And that's a bad matchup for either one of those guys, because Merab Dvalishvili is a crazy grappler. And he is going to throw even more takedown attempts against those two guys than he did against Petr Yan, because I know to an extent he had a little bit more respect and fear of Petr Yan, but clearly it didn't show with 49 attempts. So if this whole thing drags out, Merab versus Cheeto Vera or Corey Sandhagen is next. I don't see Sugar taking a fight against Merab. Merab is a dangerous opponent with not necessarily the most stock. I know that the fans love him. They love his energy. They love his spirit. They love even the fact that he's a grappler and is always looking for the takedown. Merab does find a way to make it exciting. You know, he does find a way. Similar to the Dagestanis in the sense that you're almost looking forward to the grappling for once, which I think is a nice change. because most of the time we're watching the grappling and we're hoping for it to get over with. Not AC, but some of the casuals, as I like to call it, and you'd be surprised, some of the hardcores too. A lot of folks sometimes wish they were watching BKFC, which is another banger of a card we're going to break down eventually. But yeah, man, congratulations to Merab Dvalishvili. He absolutely deserves all the good things that are coming to him. I mean, these Georgian fighters, Gige Chikate, Merab Dvalishvili, Roman Delice, who's fighting Marvin Vettori at UFC 286. What a fucking banger of a fight that is. Should have been a main event on an Apex card, but it's opening up the curtain in London, and you know they're going to bring it that night. Couple of Olays, couple of Sweet Carolines. We're going to be breaking that one down on Thursday. And, you know, it's just nice to see all the good things coming to some of these fighters that come from humble beginnings. And that's the beauty of MMA. All religions, all races, all faces, all colors, all incomes, you know, low class, middle class, upper class, the wealthiest, the poorest. They all step foot into MMA gyms and they all act as one and they all have the same goal. And that's to one day be a world champion. And that's what Merab Dvalishvili is on his way to doing. And he's got a heck of a style and a heck of a competitiveness in him to do so. He's got a way more fun style to watch than Aljamain Sterling. You know, Aljo's fallen in love with that backpack. It's like a JanSport. You know what I'm saying? But I've told you before, there's guys like Islam Makhachev that are like a rucksack. So that's a whole other ball game. But Merab Dvalishvili, the way he charges forward with his strikes, you know, in the first fight with Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan, Aljo showed a great wealth of strikes in the first 2 to 3 rounds, and then he started to fade, and then the knee happened. But Merab Dvalishvili, but in the second fight, you know, you could see that Aljo was going straight to the game plan and backpacking Yan. Merab Dvalishvili had a whole other thing coming. There was not looking to backpack. He was looking to pressure. He was looking to smash. He was looking to back up Petr Yan. He swole the eye of him. It was an exciting fight, all 5 rounds. The venue was absolute dust. The UFC should be ashamed of themselves for doing that. They would have been better off fighting at Conor McGregor's Airbnb that he's staying at for The Ultimate Fighter. You could clip that one, Brett. And, you know, I just have to tell you that in some ways, the UFC knows how to do things to the nth degree, the best of the best. You know, like fucking Matrix status. And then in other ways, bro, they're in the fucking dial-up internet game. I don't know what they were thinking with that venue. It was an absolute disaster. I think that they need to learn to treat the fighters a bit better. They're getting too carried away with this Apex thing. And then on top of that, you don't even use the Apex. You use the... You use like Wayne's Drive-In Marriage Center to have Merab Dvalishvili and Petr Yan, some of the best fighters in the world, fight it out for the bantamweight contendership. It's like, come on, guys, we got to get this shit together. So congratulations to Merab Dvalishvili. What's going to happen in the bantamweight picture? I'm not sure. But for now, we have Henry Cejudo, the challenger, Triple C, versus Aljamain Sterling, the bantamweight champion. Then we have Sugar Sean O'Malley waiting in the wings, my guy. He'll hopefully fight the winner. And then, you know, somewhere in between, Merab Dvalishvili is either going to have to wait or fight the winner or loser of Cheeto versus Corey Sandhagen. And, you know, maybe Sugar Sean says, hey, fuck it also. I don't want to wait either. Merab, you take the winner. I'll take the loser since I'm the first up in line for the #1 contendership. And let's stay active. But, you know, the training could actually, and the time off is benefiting Sugar Sean the most because he's working on his wrestling. I'd love to see or find out if he's training at Arizona State University, getting in the wrestling room with the collegial team. That's a great way to be able to, you know, train your grappling, train your wrestling, get better in the scrambles, because that's what's going to be important against guys like Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo, is getting strong in your sprawls and getting strong in your scrambles, so that Sugar Sean could go back to doing exactly what he likes doing and sparking people the fuck out. So it's going to be a very interesting bantamweight journey. I'm looking forward to it. We have superstars in Sugar Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling, the champion, Triple C, Henry Cejudo, you know, a flyweight champion, a bantamweight champion, an Olympic gold medalist, one of the cringiest guys in the game. And then we have Merab, as I like to call him, the Georgian machine Dvalishvili. And then obviously we have Cheeto Vera and Corey Sandhagen waiting in the wings. The bantamweight division in the UFC is hotter than ever, one of the best divisions of our time. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you guys are too. AC Radio, we're out, baby.
Big G's, no design on my jacket. Work hard and I'm changing my bracket. Talk tough, we ain't hear that racket. Dogs came in, you know how to stack it. Take it wrong, but I'ma need my ends though. I got tigers on my chest like Kenzo. Rail came, yeah, he putting that Benz though. Carol's here, man, you know you stay 10 toes. Big dog, man, you know I ain't worried. Bent up, so I'm talking real slow.